Hey all, 118 Seth Shadow here. So, with the release of Iron Bloom past us, well, not quite, we are still looking towards the next starter deck that's coming out, Clan Unity, which is going to feature cards for the newest Gundam series in the franchise, Gundam G-Quux, which I have my own opinions about the series itself, but I'm not going to talk too much about them here. In any case, this deck set is also going to simultaneously release along with the second booster set of the Gundam card game, Dual Impact. So, those are going to be two products to watch out for, which should both release, I think it's on the 24th. If we check here, yep, the estimated release date is the 24th of this month, and the same will be for Dual Impact as well. As for what Clan Unity is at now, at least for TCG Player, there's a market price already on the deck set for about $58, but there's nothing else in terms of the display case or the overall display. So, that's just basic information there. We'll see what happens as we go along. But let's move into a few singles to talk about for the Iron Bloom deck right now. So, the Barbatos 4th form, which is the biggest LR of this deck set right now, is at a base of around $18 with 24 listings on the market. And the market price is currently around $18, and it's trending back upward after its initial drop. You can see that there were quite a few sales from the last week, which managed to get it down closer to $17, but it never really managed to get much lower than $16.50. And for the most part, it tends to sell in the $18 range. There are still more events going on for Iron Bloom's release, so we should continue to get some more here and there. And since we haven't had any significant results out yet for the usage of purple in more competitive play, it'll probably stay that way until we actually start to see some more results on the meta aspect of it. But there is a card from this set that seems to be getting bought out more significantly though, which is Fatal Strike. This is an exclusive to this deck, and you only get 2 copies per deck. Right now, the base price is around $9, and the common plus is around $33, both of which are currently higher than their market prices. And there are 17 listings on the regular one. There are only 5 listings left on the common plus. The market price of the regular one is $8, and the market price of the foil one is $28 right now. If you are attending the events, or you're not attending the events, just keep in mind that right now, the 2 promos that you get for attending between, let's talk about the first one, the Gundam Barbatos 2nd form, which is basically an alt art of the same card that is in the deck set. The price is pretty cheap right now and could possibly keep going even lower. It's currently around $3 at the lowest, and with 42 listings on the market and a market price of around $3. In terms of this card's sales, over the last few days, we've been seeing this move from 3 to just a little bit lower, and if we look farther back, it was selling for about 5 at the beginning of the month and just kept on moving downward from there. So it's not too expensive at all, and if it follows the trend of the other release promos, this one could end up becoming $1 or lower depending. The other ones were the Strike Gundam and the Unicorn Gundam, where the Unicorn, I think, has settled around $1, while the Strike is actually far lower because it doesn't see as much play. And this pack also breaks the norm of what we've expected so far with these release tournaments, where so far we've already got, every time we got a release pack, it was a unit and then its corresponding pilot. But this time, we're not getting a pilot, we're getting a command. We got with Iron and Blood, which is also an exclusive to the Iron Bloom deck. It's featuring Mikazuki, who pilots the Barbatos, but it's not Mikazuki's pilot card that's in this set. In this promo pack. It's $3 as well, or at least very close to it. And 47 listings on the market right now. And this one is also another one that's trending downward. If you take a look and see, at the beginning of October, we were looking at about $4 and slowly been just decreasing to 3. And with lots of listings that are on the market and still more events to come, this could also potentially continue to go downward. Although I'm not as sure about this one, it really just depends on how much this card actually sees play. I don't feel like it could see too much heavy play in comparison to if it was Mikazuki the pilot card. So I feel like it'll just end up going about as low, if not lower, than the Barbatos promo. Now, a little bit from Newtype Rising, let's talk about a few of the pluses. The first one I want to cover is the Witch and the Bride, which is a command card that also has a burst to activate its main effect. This is a bounce card that chooses an enemy with 5 or less HP, and it's $27 at the lowest with 29 listings on the market. Currently, the market price has been on a downtrend, but it seems to be creeping back upward. It's currently around $25, and before a few weeks back, we were seeing quite a few sales of this card around $20. And I think there were some points where this got underneath that. I don't know how many exactly without going too far back. But when we take a look, these seem to just trend between 20 and 25 with some listings that just get underneath 20. However, as we get closer to the current day, it seems the price seems to be creeping back upward with a few $21 sales, but a lot more sales that are actually above $25 now. 27 is the lowest with shipping added as well. And then we have more of them that are creeping upwards towards $30. So I'm not sure what's trending. I'm not sure what's causing this trend exactly. I suppose it's just more experimentation around playing this with purple now in the fray. But I can also say for the other white-based, what do you call it, bounce card, which is Mula Flaga, the Hawk of Endymion, that one is still getting a whole lot of attention too. So there's the potential that players are also considering this, even though it's higher costed. Another plus I want to talk about is the Delta Plus, the rare plus of the Delta Plus. So this card is actually kind of short on listings in comparison to a few of the other pluses. There are only 13 listings right now, and while there have not been too many sales in comparison to some of the others, this one is actually making a slight uptrend right now. It's currently moving towards $15, and it still manages to get itself back into the $12 and $13 range. However, right now, when we take a look at the base listings, they're mostly around $15. And the market price is currently around $12, and it's been creeping itself upward from about $10-ish. I don't think there's any significant deck that utilizes the Delta Plus, so I feel like it's just a decent tech option. But it's also, I just really like this artwork too, which can also be a factor. A lot of these plus cards just have really good artwork. The Gun Tank from Newtype Rising, which is an uncommon. Well, since the release, this card has fallen off quite a bit, but for red, blue, ping, and potentially even just red, green aggro, this card still has significant value and playability. But it has a lot of listings as well, and I mean, it's almost sold 4,000 copies overall over the last 3 months. There are 208 listings with a market price of about 26, and this one basically sells around 25 cents. There are a few instances where they'll be picked up for 30 to 35 cents as well. As for consolidation, given that this is an uncommon, if you take a look at the first page, no listing has more than 3 copies, and they are about 29 cents tops. If we take a look at the second page, we finally have a listing that's around 13 copies, and that is 30 cents. So, by having more copies to get rid of at the same time, if you command a little bit of a higher price, you're more likely to get the sale there, simply because this is an easy to grab card, and also I feel like it's one of those you do play 4 or at least 3 of. Gaza D, which is a Xeon Rush Starter Deck 3 exclusive, is a cheap card to pick up for both its regular common and the common plus. And it's generic enough that it might have some significance at some point. It is a Neo Xeon trait, but it also doesn't have a link, and it's cost 2 along with level 2. It's 27 cents for its market price, but a low of 14 cents on 73 listings. And then you have the Common Plus, which has 51 listings and a base price of $3, but a market price of about 4. So, again, just a generic support for red, but ultimately, without much else going for it, I guess it's just not favored in comparison to many others. And I feel like red-green aggro has just kind of fallen in favor of blue-green aggro. So that could also be a contributor as to why this is lower than it was before. Something else that's been dropping off is the LR of the Ale Strike from the 4th starter deck. There are 40 listings on the market for this card now, and the card is now is a low of $12.50 with a market price of about $13. The market price had crossed $16 around mid-September, and now it seems to be trending back downward. And when we take a look a little farther back, we're seeing a lot more $14 sales that are moving further. They're kind of stabilized there. There was actually one for $6. I don't know what the shipping rate would have been on that, though. And right now, they're still mostly selling for around $13, $14 to $15. And when it comes to its consolidation on listings, no listing higher than 3 copies on the first page. And if we take a look at the second page, the first real level of consolidation is 8 copies for $16. And there are 2 listings with that kind of approach right now. So, more or less, if you want to pick up a playset of this, then you're going to have to move upwards of $15 to get them from the same seller here. Or if you just want 3 of them, you have a little more leeway. And of course, there is still the potential for the reprints of the deck sets that Bandai has said we would get, but we will see when that actually happens, and we'll see if it actually makes its way into more like department stores and so forth, not just hobby. The Shenlong Gundam is also another Judge promo, along with the Marita Cruz, which I had talked about last week. And there are listings for these Judge promos now available, and it seems they're mostly starting at $100, but no real history yet. If you want the Hiro Yui Championship promo, there are 2 available right now for $3,500 onward, and no sales as of yet. No sales yet. And both of them are around $3,500 if you want to grab them. A little discussion on the resources that you could have gotten at the Bandai Fest. So, they're pretty high right now. Amurore's resource, which also features the original RX-78 Gundam, is a base of $73 right now with 11 listings. As for what they have been selling for, we've been seeing $70 to $75. And there are some Japanese ones that you can pick up. In fact, there are a few Japanese ones on the market here for as low as $40. So that's still quite significant in price. But the English copy is far higher right now. Another one is Atherin Zala, who is a base of about $58.50 with 21 listings on the market. And this one has sold higher than Amuro at a high of about $82, trending downward, but it's still selling for $65, which is pretty high up there. There's a Japanese listing for this one too at $45, which is still higher than the Amuro Japanese listing. And otherwise, we're looking at about $58 plus if you want to get it, and there's no real consolidation on the first page. There are other resources that you can get as well, but they all tend to follow the same trend right now of just being really high up there, and there are some sellers trying to get rid of Japanese copies too. A quick talk on some of the beta pluses. Char Aznable is currently a base of $4,000 if you want to pick that up. and 2 listings on the market, but that second listing is a Japanese copy that is currently $600. And when it comes to what Char has been selling for, we are looking at the most recent sales have been around $630 and just a little bit lower than that. Otherwise, we've been seeing a lot of $500 and $600 sales of this card. So it's definitely moving for quite a bit, irregardless of just how high this current price is, it's still selling in the hundreds. And then there's the Gun Cannon R Plus as well, which is also $4,000 with 2 listings, and there's a Japanese version of this one for $400. As for what this one has been selling for, there was actually a playset in August that sold for $375 a piece. And then there are a number of other ones, English copies that sold for a range of around $300, more recently $400 to $600, and that was the latest sale around the end of September. These beta pluses are really high up in value in terms of just their hundreds, and some are selling in the thousands, but a number of them, in fact, I think it's all of them now. All of them have base prices that are in the thousands, but only a few are actually selling in the thousands, like the Wing Gundam and Overflowing Affection as examples. And that's all for today. Thank you guys for watching. If you liked the video, please like and subscribe if you haven't already, and I will see you guys later.